From Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.
Tonight on News Hour, APC governors zone party national chairmanship position to North ahead of National Convention. Trial of Minna school teacher accused of raping 13 students resumes. Former Water Resources Minister and 2 others sentenced to 3 months imprisonment over 450 million naira fraud. And on the foreign scene, world leaders react to Russian President Vladimir Putin's deployment of troops to the self-proclaimed Donetsk People's Republic and the Luhansk People's Republic. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Hour. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Now the news in full. The ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, has agreed to swap the current vacant positions in the National Working Committee between the northern and southern parts of the country ahead of March 26 National Convention. The decision was taken by the APC governors, and Governor Nasir El-Rufai of Kaduna State announced this on Tuesday while fielding questions from State House reporters after a meeting between the APC governors and President Muhammadu Buhari at the presidential villa in Abuja. Kebbi State Governor and Chairman of the Progressive Governors Forum, Atiku Bagudu, led the post-meeting briefing. The brief meeting that took place at the council chambers of the presidential villa in Abuja was attended by Vice President Yemi Oshibanjo and 19 governors, including those of Yobe, Kano, Kogi, Ekiti, Nasarawa, Kwara, Ebonyi, Jigawa, Lagos, Imo, Ogun, Borno, Niger, Gombe, Oshun, Kebbi, Plateau, as well as the Deputy Governor of Anambra State, who left the All Progressive Grand Alliance, APGA, for the APC last year.
But after our meeting of last night to deliberate on the proposal by the National Caretaker Committee and our briefing with Mr. President today, we are all on the same page. We have agreed a zoning formula for all the 6 geopolitical zones, and essentially we swapped. Northern zones will take positions that southern zones had in the last 8 years, and vice versa. It's a very simple, equitable, and fair formula. We will now go back and consult at the zonal level and look at the positions that are available, and the process of the convention preparation will start in earnest. So by the grace of God, on the 26th of March, we would have done our national convention. Whether we'll do the zonal convention before that or do it at the same time, again, the constitution is silent, so as our chairman said, we can decide either way.
There is no doubt, although you were not specific, as to which reason will make us not to come back again. But as far as we are concerned, based on our assessment and based on what the federal government is doing tremendously, there is able hope that this party, this government will move beyond our president. And I think that is his efforts, and that is what he has been saying, that by the grace of God, this government will move beyond his tenure.
Zonal congresses are not explicitly stated in the Constitution, particularly how you do zonal congresses. And we have in the past done them with national convention, but nothing again in the Constitution stopped them from being done outside the national convention. But the final form will be decided given the input we have provided. Our governors divided? Not at all. The 22 governors of the APC are united. We are in total support of Mr. President. We are appreciative of his leadership. We commend him for his leadership. We are appreciative of the sacrifice of the National Caretaker and Extraordinary Convention Planning Committee, and we thank them for the successes recorded under them. Our party, like I said, is greater and stronger with more members by the day.
Former Governor of Kano State and Minister of Defense, Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, has joined forces with some of his associates to wrestle power from the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, in the 2023 general elections. Speaking as a convener at the launch of the National the national movement, TNM, profiled to be the third force in the coming general elections. Kwankwaso, a member of the People's Democratic Party, PDP before now, blames corruption for the challenges in the country. He promised a Marshall Plan to tackle corruption and rescue Nigeria from its present problems, and pledged to hearken to the voice of the people and embark on the restructuring of the country to give a sense of belonging to all facets of the country. Among those present at the launch of the TNM are former Minister of Sports Simon Dalung, Buba Galadima, Senator Grace Bent and Elder Tankoyakase, amongst others. And consistent with their threats, civil society groups on Tuesday converged on the nation's capital, Abuja, to demand immediate presidential assent to the reworked Electoral Act Amendment Bill to the executive arm of government. Trust TV's Shafiu Suleiman reports that the action, according to the group, is born out of fears that further delay in signing the bill could lead to unnecessary constitutional crisis. His report.
A coalition of civil society groups, converge here on the Unity Fountain to press home the demand for President Muhammadu Buhari to assent to the Electoral Act Amendment Bill in the interest of Nigerians and in the interest of sanitizing the nation's electoral processes. They've been compelled, to converge here due to the delay in signing the bill by President Muhammadu Buhari. Let's get to hear from some of the leaders of the civil society organizations who have, converged here to, press home the demand for this very important assent by Mr. President.
As we speak, he's still got about 7 days, yes, we know, but then we are here because there is something that connects to the election in 2023. One of the fundamental aspects of the bill is about the timeline of the election. Based on the current bill, INEC has 360 days to conduct the elections in 2023. If you count from today, February 22nd, to the next cycle of election, you will get 360 days. Our fear is that if the president doesn't assent to the bill today, we will jump into a crisis. INEC will jump into a crisis of most likely postponing the election. That is, should INEC want to go with the current bill?
We want to believe that our president wants to leave a legacy for credible elections. So he does not have an option to be adamant. He does not have an option to fail. Because if he fails to sign this bill, he will be remembered as the president that killed electoral integrity. But if he passes this bill, he will be celebrated as the president that passed a law that enabled credible elections. And I think he wants to write his name in gold, not just for Nigeria, but for West Africa. That's one. The second part is we will keep engaging. We will deploy every means within the ambit of the law. We've done press conferences, we've lobbied, we've done advocacy. Today is a symbolic show coming to the Unity Fountain, which symbolizes our unity as a nation.
Talking about the need to compel President Muhammadu Buhari to sign into law the amended Electoral Act bill. That's what is a symbolic show, to get the president do the needful. But then there is also a precedence. The president has jettisoned, a similar opportunity in the build-up to 2015 elections. Whether that will change is one thing Nigerians are waiting to see as we move towards the 2023 general elections. Shafiu Suleiman, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Meanwhile, the trial of a 48-year-old teacher in Niger State, Usman Galadima, standing trial for allegedly raping 14 pupils, has resumed with more witnesses testifying against the defendant. Usman Galadima, the assistant head teacher of Central Primary School, Karabondi, Borgu local government area of Niger State, is arraigned before Mina Magistrate Court 5 in August 2021 for allegedly raping and infecting 13 of his pupils with HIV/AIDS. Several witnesses, including the head teacher of the school, had earlier testified. The report.
On Tuesday, the seventh witness, a 45-year-old teacher in the school and the secretary of 5-member disciplinary committee set up by Borgo Local Government Education Authority, Ahmed Yusuf Tanko, gives evidence. Tanko also told the court during the investigation by the committee chaired by one Muhammad Ibrahim, 4 of the pupils told the panel they were raped by the accused. He said one of the pupils told the committee that the assistant head teacher had asked her on several occasions to come to school and used the opportunity to have intercourse with her. He said 5 of the pupils told the committee that Galadima only touched their body but did not have carnal knowledge of them. Tanko told the court when the accused was invited by the committee, he denied the allegations by the Pupils, but thereafter admitted at a meeting with officials of the local government education authority held on August 27, 2001, that he only raped 3 of the Pupils, not 13. The defense counsel, Shuaibu Abubakar, raised objections with regards to the content of the report tendered by the witness. But the police prosecutor, ASP Abdullahi Meyaki, objected to say that since the names of the members of the committee were written, the signature should not invalidate the exhibit.
There's nothing I can say other than he's doing his work as a defense counsel, see how he can exonerate or diminish, contradict the constitution case. He's doing his work, so it's not left for the court now to decide otherwise.
Having taken the account by the witness, the presiding magistrate, Sa'adatu Abubakar, adjourned the case to March 23, 2022 for continuation hearing.
Meanwhile, a federal high court sitting in Jos on Tuesday sentenced the former Minister of Water Resources, Sarah Ochekbe, to 3 months imprisonment. The court sentenced Ochekbe, who served as minister under former President Goodluck Jonathan, alongside a former chairman of the People's Democratic Party in Plateau State, Raymond Dabu, and the Plateau State coordinator of Jonathan Campaign Organization, Leo Sunday Jitong. The 3 accused persons had been standing trial since 2018 in a case of money laundering and conspiracy brought against them by the Economics and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, amounting to over 450 million naira. Professor Sadiq Radda is the Executive Secretary, Presidential Advisory Committee Against Corruption. He speaks on the issue.
Well, for us at the Presidential Advisory Committee Against Corruption, what the judiciary has done in Plateau State is commendable. But you can give a very informed comment about what they have done if we can have the full judgment. Notwithstanding that, I think the judiciary, if it can go like this, no matter how light the punishment may be, people in this country should be punished. And I hope they have recovered the 450 billion naira from them. So I feel, as a committee, we are very happy with this judgment to commend the judiciary on this issue, and we hope that we'll see more of this. No matter what, people should have their day in court, and there should be swift adjudication of cases so that the right signals can be sent to every Nigerian that once you get to the courts, issues can be dealt with and you will be punished. This case has been going on for a very long time, and our own feedback to the judiciary came out just some 3 weeks ago. So our assessment of the judiciary and the criticism, the feedback we have given may not necessarily be the reason why they have acted the way they do. We have seen in the press release that actually there are many good judges. There are many good lawyers. However, the bad ones among them are really painting the image of the judiciary. So this decision may not necessarily be as a result of our criticism, because they have gotten all the facts, they have gotten all the evidence, and therefore they have decided to pass a judgment on the case. So it cannot be connected. All we are saying is we support what they have done, we commend them, and we hope to see more of this across the country.
The High Court in Abuja on Tuesday extended the detention of a Deputy Commissioner of Police, Kyari, by 14 days. Justice Zainab Abubakar issued the order for Kyari's further detention while ruling on an ex parte application argued by the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency NDLEA counsel Mike Kassa. The court granted permission to NDLEA to hold embattled Kyari for 14 days to enable the agency complete its investigation into the hard drug trafficking allegations against him. The NDLEA had in the application pleaded for more time to detain Kyari on the grounds that the hard drug trafficking allegations against the suspect were complex and may require the agency traveling outside the shores of the country to make some clarifications. The council also asked the court to grant a detention extension in the interest of justice and to be fair to the suspect through diligent investigation. The judge, however, ordered that the 14 days further detention should start counting from February 22nd. The Nigerian judiciary and legal system have come under scrutiny from the Presidential Advisory Council on Corruption Fight. The council accused the judiciary of relying on technicalities to frustrate corruption trials and oftentimes give corrupt judges immunity. Some legal practitioners speak on the developments, including delays in the appointment of 6 Supreme Court judges. Mardia Umar has the report.
Complaints about Nigeria's judicial system and insider dealings in the appointment process, competence of persons appointed as judicial officers, and a host of other complaints abound, not only within the legal profession, but without.
A couple of home truths. One was the need to review the appointment process of judges, because judges are only as good as we can get, and if the appointment method is bad, then you get bad judges. So I think that was a critical point. The second point that came out, which was strongly made by the Nigerian Federation, which I support, is that the judiciary is always complaining about lack of money, which is true, but they don't also tell us what it is that they have and how they use it. And therefore the issue of accountability was raised, which is very important.
The delay in appointment of Supreme Court judges, some lawyers say, has untold effect on the administration of justice in Nigeria.
I understand that there was a recent publication or a request from the Chief Justice of Nigeria asking the Nigerian Bar Association to nominate persons who are qualified to serve as justices of the Supreme Court. This would actually be the first time this would happen in recent times, and I think it's a very welcome development. And in those days, people would say, you know, at least you have your day in court, with the expectation that redress will come, you know, and corruption tends to whittle away confidence in the judiciary. But what I would say to that with regards to the appointment of justices is that and I think this sentiment has been echoed by the president of the Nigerian Bar Association, that transparency helps to breed confidence. Everything, you know, sunlight puts everything in proper perspective.
The chairman of the Intellectual Property Lawyers in Abuja also speaks about alleged corruption in the selection process of judicial officers.
And controversy over the use of hijab in Kwara State continues to linger as family of Habib Idris, killed during peaceful protests in support of hijab, rejects 1 million naira compensation from the state government. Habib Idris was killed in Ijagbo over denial of Muslim female students to use hijab at Ijagbo Baptist High School. The government had given the family 1 million naira and another 250,000 naira for the 10 wounded Muslims. The report.
Press conference in Ilorin, the Kwara State capital. The chairman of the Kwara Muslim Youth, Abdurrazak Al-Amin, requested for reasonable and fair monetary compensation for the deceased and 10 fatally injured Muslims during the Ijagbo hijab crisis. Al-Amin said that the government is supposed to pay 113,338,000 naira as blood money for the family of the slain Habib Idris.
The sum of 113 million naira, 388,000 naira as dear blood money for the murder of Idris at Ijagbo. 5. Adequate, reasonable and fair monetary compensation to the 10 fatally injured Muslims during the Ijagbo hijab crisis. It is instructive to note that some of the victims of the shootings still have bullets lodged in their bodies.
The group is also asking for the prosecution of who is responsible for the killing of one Habib Idris and maiming of 10 others during the hijab protest at Oyu Baptist High School in Ijagbo.
The government should be, number 6, the government should be 100% responsible for the hospital bills and incidental expenses of the 10 injured Muslims during the Ijagbo hijab crisis.
And owners of properties destroyed due to the construction of Ilorin expressway want President Muhammadu Buhari to prevail on the Federal Ministry of Works to release compensation due to them. During a peaceful protest at the construction site in Shao area, the property owners said that several appeals and letters written to the Minister of Works, Babatunde Fashola, 3 years ago, have not yielded any result. The protesters said they were directed to Kwara State government for the payment, who in turn claimed ignorance of any compensation issue. According to them, property owners in Lagos or Ogbomoso axis have been paid, wondering why those within Ilorin and Jaba axis will be different.
Is that people you see behind me, they are the ones who have property on the express road within Ilorin and Jeba. Today, we came to this place because of express road they are now constructing. This express started from Lagos to Ibadan, from Ibadan to Oyo, from Oyo to Ogbomoso, from Ogbomoso to Ilorin, from Ilorin to Jeba. The compensation have been paid from Lagos to Ibadan. Even that Ojo market, compensation was paid. But this minister Fashola, he didn't pay our compensation and work have started. That's why we come here. And they are now working. He said he won't pay our compensation because of the Federal Executive Council. They have a meeting on 19 October. And the governors were not there. He said the state government they want to pay the money. And then they are not entitled. We know the work of state. When they are doing their road, they will pay compensation. When federal are doing their own, they will pay compensation. From Lagos to Ogbomoso, they have paid compensation. Why is he want to pay our own compensation?
It affects us because all of us here, we are parents. We have the beneficiaries that we too, children are in the university. We have other elderly people at home. We have people who are looking up to us. So we want all our compensation to be paid before they start anything on our stations.
Zamfara State Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice Junaid Aminu says Governor Bello Matawalle is battling with over 50 court cases instituted by some groups challenging his defection from the People's Democratic Party to the All Progressives Congress (APC) in the state.
On Friday,
the State Attorney General stated this on Monday in Gusau at the sitting of the investigative panel on the impeachment of the state's Deputy Governor Mahadi Gusau. The Attorney General blamed the several litigations filed against his principal to enemies of the state who do not mean well for the governor and people of the state.
To be precise, there was an attempt to effect service on Chief Mike Ozukumi, the National Counsel for the Governor, CJ, and the Speaker. I was in court personally on Monday last week in Abuja. He said he was served on Friday with the process. And that motion, it was a motion filed to revived. That was what it was, revived. Okay. When you are saying revived, that means something is no more there. It's to revive status quo. That is a point of argument. No order was made by that court. If there's any order, I believe the next thing is for the council to apply for a certified true copy of that order and make it public. Once an impeachment proceedings is initiated, no court can stop it. The constitution is very clear. We have 57 pending cases in court. All these cases are on the issue of defection.
Political
27 cases on defection. Let me tell you, not all. I'm just giving percentage about 32 of them. Okay. Now, they are making reference to this case number ABJ 650, 2021. There are some cases that were filed about 32 by Engineer Yakubu Maru, a former House of Assembly member. Instead of him to file a single case challenging the defection of the executive governor, the senators, the House of Reps, and House of Assembly, he decided to split it individually.
To how many?
About 32. Look at it.
You're watching Trust TV News Hour. Coming up after the break, row over adulterated fuel importation. This and more after the break. Do stay with us.
Coronavirus disease, COVID-19, is an infectious disease caused by SARS-CoV-2 virus. Most people who fall sick with COVID-19 will experience mild to moderate symptoms and recover without special treatment. However, some will become seriously ill and require medical attention. The virus can spread from an infected person's mouth or nose in small liquid particles when they cough, sneeze, speak, sing, or breathe. These particles range from larger respiratory droplets to smaller aerosols. You can be infected by breathing in the virus if you're near someone who has COVID-19 or by touching a contaminated surface and then touching your eyes, nose, or mouth. The virus spreads more easily indoors and in crowded settings. Maintain a safe distance from others at least 2 meters even if they don't appear to be sick. Wear a mask in public, especially indoors or when physical distancing is not possible. Clean your hands often. Use soap and water or an alcohol-based hand sanitizer. Cover your nose and mouth with your bent elbow or a tissue when you cough or sneeze. Stay home if you feel unwell. Get vaccinated. Properly fitted masks can help prevent the spread of the virus from the person wearing the mask to others. Masks alone do not protect against COVID-19 and should be combined with physical distancing and hand hygiene. Protect yourself and others around you by knowing the facts and taking appropriate precautions. Follow advice provided by your local health authority. This message is brought to you by Trust TV.
This is Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Welcome back. You're still watching Trust TV News Hour. Now a look at our top stories. Ruling People's All Progressive Congress has agreed to swap the current vacant positions in the National Working Committee between the northern and southern parts of the country ahead of March 26 National Convention. And case of 48-year-old teacher in Niger State who stand in trial for allegedly having carnal knowledge of 13 pupils of his school has been adjourned to March 23, 2022 for continuation. And moving on to other stories now, federal government says 2 doses of COVID-19 vaccine is slowing down its strategy put in place to achieve large vaccination coverage due to some adverse effects following immunization after taking the first dose. It said a strategy with the acronym SCALES stands for Service Delivery, Communication, Accountability, Logistics, Electronic Reporting and Supportive Supervision for the ongoing COVID-19 vaccination, introduced in November 2021 by the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency to rapidly ramp up COVID-19 vaccine coverage by expanding access to COVID-19 vaccines outside the health facility. Trust TV's Aisha Saliu reports.
The launch of Service Delivery, Communication, Accountability, Logistics, Electronic Reporting and Supportive Supervision, Scales 2.0 for the ongoing COVID-19 vaccination, which was organized by the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency in collaboration with the Federal Ministry of Health and its partners, was themed One-Shot COVID-19 Vaccine for Everyone to reach the nationwide vaccination coverage.
We recognize that Nigeria has done some good work vaccinating on average about 200,000 persons each day. But we know we have much work to be done to get us to 600,000 people each day.
But what is important here today is that by June 30th, we have a real opportunity to reach 70% of the eligible population, or reach another 50 million Nigerians with COVID-19 vaccines, now that we have a good supply, which was not the case in 2021.
The Minister of Health, Ehanire Osage, during the keynote address, said it has become imperative that the government launches the Scales 2.0 strategy, which entails the integration of COVID-19 vaccination with childhood routine immunization for eligible adults 18 years and above and children 0 to 2 years respectively, as proportion of fully vaccinated Nigerians is still very low, partly because Nigeria has been using 2-dose vaccines.
Now, then we have a unique opportunity to leverage on the scale strategy using COVID-19 vaccination structures and resources, and also improve routine immunization coverage with improved efficiency and reduced duplication of efforts by healthcare workers. So combining these scales and routine immunization will bring benefits.
Speaking at the event, the Executive Director of the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, Faisal Shoaib, noted that the strategy is leveraging mass vaccination, outreach services and mobile services with adequate stock of over 30 million Johnson & Johnson vaccine.
The single-shot vaccine for everyone, the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, we understand very clearly that one of the reasons why there's a gap between our first and second doses is because people experience COVID-19 as following COVID-19 vaccination. Although these adverse events are largely mild, we know that the opportunity to have that single shot, not only in the hardest to reach areas, but everybody having access to one single shot, will definitely increase our coverage for COVID-19 vaccination.
The Scales 2.0 strategy on the Johnson & Johnson rollout and the vaccination site finder are great opportunities for Nigeria to ramp up COVID-19 vaccine coverage and reinvigorate routine immunization uptake. Aisha Salihu, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Now to legislative matters, where the Senate on Tuesday asked for a declaration of emergency on roads to address incessant airfare hike premised on increased prices of aviation fuel. The Senate will also consider reports on constitution review next Tuesday. The report.
Following a point of order raised to draw Senate attention to the increase in airfare and the implication for Nigerian roads, Senator Geshem Basi said that local airfares in Nigeria have risen by 63% because of recent hike in the price of aviation fuel and its attendant consequences. According to him, minimum economy class ticket is about 80,000 naira for travelers buying a 1-hour, one-way ticket.
The Senate is aware that local airfares in Nigeria have risen by over 63% in response to a spike in the price of aviation fuel and attendant cost of operation. The Senate is also disturbed that the rise in the airfare has pegged the minimum economy class ticket at around 80,000 naira for travelers buying a 1-hour, one-way economy ticket. Further disturbed that the increase in airfares will increase the pressure on the neglected and dilapidated Nigerian roads and will further worsen the state of the roads in Nigeria. Senate is concerned that the Federal Road Maintenance Agency, FEMA, had a budgetary approval of just about 20% of the funds the agency requires for the rehabilitation of the 35,000 kilometers of federal road infrastructure in the 2022 budget.
The upper chamber accordingly urged the federal government to immediately reposition the Federal Road Maintenance Agency, FEMA, in order to enable the agency carry out the required rehabilitation. In the meantime, Senate will next Tuesday vote on the report of the Senate Committee on Constitution Review on amendments to the 1999 Constitution. Chairman of the committee, Senator Ovie Omoagege, gave the hint at the start of plenary on Tuesday. Omo Agege said that the report of the Constitutional Review Committee would be laid this Wednesday during plenary and copies distributed to lawmakers. He appealed to lawmakers to study the report ahead of its consideration next for meaningful input.
The Senate confirmed the nomination of Francis Alabo Ogari as Executive Director, Hydrocarbon Processing Plants, Installations and Transportation Infrastructure of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The nomination of Francis Alabo Ogari as Executive Director, Hydrocarbon Processing Plants, Installations and Transportation Infrastructure of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority is hereby confirmed. Will the Senate confirm the nomination of Dr. Mustapha Lamode as Executive Director, Health, Safety, Environment and Community of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
Meanwhile, the Senate has confirmed the nominations of 5 executive director nominees of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority. Senator Mohammed said that the nominees had proven their worth regarding the petroleum industry during the screening exercise.
Having screened the nominees and being satisfied with their experiences, performance, and academic qualifications, hereby recommend as follows: that the Senate do confirm the nominations of Francis Alabo as Executive Director, Hydrocarbons, Plants, Installation and Transportation. That the Senate do confirm the nomination of the Mustapha Lamode as Executive Director, Health, Safety and Environment. That the Senate do confirm the nomination of Masru Kulia as the Executive Director, Midstream and Downstream Gas Infrastructure Fund. That the Senate do confirm the nomination of Bashir Sadiq as the Executive Director, Corporate Services and Administration. That the Senate do confirm the nomination of Dr. Zainab Kobir as Executive Director, Economic Regulations and Strategic Planning.
The 5 executive director nominees were confirmed by the Senate after consideration of the report by the Committee on Petroleum Downstream Sector.
APC chieftain and former senator representing Rivers South East, Magnus Abe, says President Muhammadu Buhari's non-interference with Nigeria's electoral process will stand out among his legacies after leaving office in 2023. Abe said this during a visit to Korokoro in Thai local government area of River State, where the Benemene Thai King Godwin Ginimwa and members of the Supreme Council of Traditional Rulers of Ogoni confirmed a chieftaincy title on him. The report.
Senator Magnus Abe said the 2023 general election is another opportunity for Nigerians to come together and elect a government of their choice. Abe called on stakeholders in Ogoni land to take active participation in governance, as it is important for Ogoni people to have a sense of inclusion in the state they lived for almost 60 years.
Call your conscience to the fact that another opportunity is coming for Nigerians, for Rivers people, to decide the nature of the government that they want. It is an opportunity for us to choose a government that will serve us, a government that will put the interest of the people above every other interest. There is nothing to fear. It is something that is doable, it is something that is achievable, and when people talk about me and governorship, I want to use this opportunity to say clearly for everybody to hear, it is not about Senator Abe being governor. It is not about an Ogoni man being governor. It is important that the Ogoni people, for purposes of inclusion, should have a sense of well-being in the fact that having been part of a state for almost 60 years, you too should be able to say that you are included in an inclusive society.
The Genemene of Thai and chairman of the Supreme Council of Ogoni Traditional Rulers, King Godwin Ginimwa, appealed to the people and political parties to support candidates from Ogoni ethnic group to succeed Governor Nyesom Wike in 2023. The first-class traditional ruler, who noted that the Ogoni people have supported other ethnic groups to become governors in the past, said the area is blessed with capable hands to lead the state.
2022, as we are in already, there should be peace in Ogoni land.
Amen. Let there be peace in Rivers State. Amen. We should love ourselves. If you don't have love for yourself, we will destroy all this gun shooting and killing and should stop in Ogoni. Enough is enough. We need these young boys, we need them more. We need them because some of them are graduates. And the only thing we can pray is that the government, whichever government that is being, should be able to create jobs for the masses, build industries, employ them. Most of them are very good.
Speaking on the power of the electorate and the bimodal voters authentication system machines, Abe said Nigerians and Rivers people are expected to do things better than before. He called for peace in Ogoni land and the state, urging government at all levels to create employment opportunities for the youth.
If Buhari has not done anything for Nigeria, he has done something that Nigerians can never forget. He has given you, the Nigerian people, the power to choose whoever you want as your leader. He has refused to interfere in the politics and political choices of Nigerians. He has refused to manipulate the electoral process. And because of that, today, with the advent of the BFAS machine, which identifies every vote, you have the opportunity to choose whoever you like. It is who you like that will run the government that you want. And therefore, if you fail to make use of this opportunity to choose a government that will serve you, tomorrow, don't come and talk about the dividends of democracy.
Senator Abe urged his supporters to sensitize people in every nook and cranny of the state to understand that the power to choose who leads them is in their hands in the 2023 elections.
A consortium of oil and gas companies have all absolved themselves from allegations of importing adulterated fuel into the country. The oil marketers made this admission during an investigative hearing by the House Committee on Petroleum Downstream, charged to identify roles played by these companies responsible for importing adulterated fuel into the country. The report.
MRS Oil and Gas Company Limited and the AY Mekifi Consortium in their submission exonerate themselves from any infractions that may have resulted in the importation of toxic fuel into the country. Leader of the consortium, Dabo Olujimi, while applauding the decision of the NNPC to include private oil and gas companies in the importation of PMS, said this has dealt with the scarcity of the product for some time now. The consortium said the importation of the product during the period under review followed all due process and certified after investigation. The consortium said the importation of the product during the period under review followed all due process and certified after inspection on arrival into the country.
So I believe that the specification which we work with is issued by the Standards Organization of Nigeria. It's their prerogative to decide what parameters they want us to check for in line with global standards. So to your question, is it normal? Yes, all over the world, unless there's a specific need, you do not test for methanol.
The consortium was awarded the DSTB contract on June 22, 2021 by the NNPC. The delivery of the petroleum products and crude lifting has been done strictly on rotational basis by respective consortium members. Some of the consortium members, Emadeb, Mekifi, immediately engage reputable international partners for delivery of the gasoline products and prompt loading of crude. But one of our sister company, which is the fourth member, Britannia, you choose to engage a different entity and decide to go on our own.
But Britannia U Oil and Gas Company Limited, originally part of the consortium, pulled out later is fingered as the culprit in the importation of the said toxic PMS, but the COO quickly debunked it. She said due process is followed in the importation, moreover the timeline for the said fuel cleared and distributed does not tally with the period under review.
You people are learned and professional gentlemen and women. Can you go and ask somebody that you stole without telling him what he stole or what you caught him? Now you said that we brought in a inspector. Did anybody, because before you said that we brought in, you will test, there will be a joint test. Was there any joint test between us, NNPC or whoever? There was none. They did an independent inspection, which legally under the Nigerian law is DPR that is supposed to do the testing. Now you have done the test. What is the test result? We don't have the test result as we speak today.
The committee called for the submission of all relevant documents relating to the importation of PMS within the period under review to enable members to fully digest it for further investigation. The investigation continues tomorrow when other companies will appear before the committee.
And the Coalition of Concerned Northern Forum says it lifted the ultimatum given to the Group Managing Director of the NNPC Limited, Mele Kyari. Spokesperson of the forum, Kazim Abdul Salam, in an interview with Fatima Laden in Kaduna, says the forum takes the decision to stop its planned protest after the 72-hour ultimatum expired to avoid similar occurrence of violence like that of the NSAS protest.
This is northern Nigeria. What have we achieved from the present administration? Why will you allow some people to use us? If they are interested in protest, they should go ahead with protest. We will step down our protest and insist that NNPC meet up with other demands, like identifying every household who has cases related to the PMS they bought from filling station and it damaged their machinery. They should be fully compensated. The issue of the GMD should resign and protest, and other top management officials will step down, because we discover there are equally people that are hiring the offices of management, the management offices of NNPC and that of the GMD. They equally showed interest in what we are about doing. And to us, we are not kids. We cannot be used by anybody for their own selfish desire. What we are doing, it is because we are patriotic Nigeria, we are concerned Northerner, and our interest is the betterment of our region. These same people have the capacity to talk to those in position of authority. They did not do it. Why are they reaching out to us to say they want to support our proposed protest? So we step down the issue.
Minister of Transportation Rotimi Amechi says Kano State will house the biggest rail station in the country. The minister said this when a delegation from Kano, led by Governor Abdullahi Ganduje, paid him a courtesy visit in Abuja to discuss the rail and Dala Inland Dry Port in the state. Governor Ganduje said that the state government had contributed about 2.5 billion naira to the dry port project to ensure its speedy completion and commercialization.
We have two major federal government projects in Kano that fall within this rail line beginning from Kano to Kaduna. We had applied to the Kano state government to give us land where we will build the biggest station in Nigeria. It is the biggest station because we are combining two rail lines. The first one is the Kano Maradi, which will empty in Kano, and then the second one is the Kano Kaduna, which will also empty in Kano. And don't forget that the station we are building in Kano, we are at the end of the day be the station that will take passengers from Lagos to Kano.
We are investing about 2.5 billion naira by providing access road to the premises and providing also other social amenities, just to contribute to our own quota. Because that project was conceived about 20 years ago, but it never materialized until during our time. So I make sure that this project is a reality, and in order to do that, we have to provide an enabling environment, and we have to contribute to our own quota. So we're happy with the developers because they have gone far, and also we're happy with the Honorable Minister of Transportation because he is giving maximum cooperation and assistance to see that the Kano State, the Inland Dry Port is a reality.
Now to matters of security, where the police in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, says operatives have arrested a syndicate of child traffickers in a renewed commitment in boosting strategies towards securing lives and properties of residents within the nation's capital. The Commissioner of Police, Sunday Babaji, gave the assurance during the command's routine parade of suspects and media briefing to update residents on the activities of the command. Trust TV's Sagir Ibrahim has more.
The Commissioner in his address commended residents for their collaboration with the force and added that new strategies had been put in place to meet up with new security challenges being faced in the FCT.
I want to use this opportunity to once again assure the good people of the territory that more than ever before, Our commitment are fire up and driven double. The strategic deployment of our security apparatus is more than sufficient to combat any criminal emergency in the FCT.
Among those paraded were a child trafficking syndicate who specializes in the abduction and illegal enrollment of children in unregistered orphanages and then sold.
I paid for the orphanage, I registered from orphanage because he said that I should go through social welfare. And I collected 150 for him to represent the one that the orphanage did not give me. That's why I started making money with him. I didn't have any amount that I have met than the one that I'm doing the work for. What the woman used to do, you only help me, give me either 20,000 or 30,000.
That is from if I'm coming. So if they are crying, I will always buy boo-boo for them so that they will stop crying on the way. So that is why. Who picks the children? Yes, that is why I say it's me that brought it to Madam Uzo from Madam Mukechi. From Madam Mukechi. So when I'm coming, that is from orphanage home, Madam Mukechi orphanage home. So but when I'm coming on the way, maybe sometime if they are crying, I'll stop on bike and buy them boo-boo so that I will bring it to Madam Uzo Informa.
The command explained that so far 3 children had been recovered from the syndicate. They called on members of the public to come forward to identify the kids as they were yet to be united with their families. Also paraded was another syndicate who specializes in swapping ATM cards from their unsuspecting victims at the bank.
I would like to distract the person when he wants to insert his card. I will touch the person, then my boss, which is Bright, he's not here. He will go out with the card.
The first day that he took me there, said that I should stand outside. If security is coming, I should do it as I should call him. I should just let him know that security is coming. I said no problem. The first day that we went, he collected card, but I don't know how because there are 3. Me, big 4. I don't know how they do the work. The first time he gave me 22,000. The second one he gave me 6,000.
Ifeanyi and his mother were also arrested for their suspected involvement in a cement distribution scam.
They said that I should come, that money enter my account. I said, who put money in my account now? I don't know anything about that.
The true story is that I'm not the actual person that is doing this business, understand? The most important thing to me is that the account, understand? Sometimes they give me 200 or 300. Just 3 times that I do the business.
A total of 10 suspects were paraded by the FCT command. According to the Commissioner of Police, they were paraded on various crimes bordering on pickpocketing, ATM card fraud, abduction and kidnap of little children to run illegal orphanages, as well as other crimes. The Commissioner, during his address, had assured FCT residents of improved strategies towards the protection of the Federal Capital Territory. He, however, called on residents to continue to collaborate with the police as well as other security agencies to rid not just the FCT but the nation at large of crime and criminality. From Abuja, Sagir Ibrahim reporting for Trust TV.
Now to business news, where the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, says Nigeria recorded $1.1 billion foreign trade surplus in the last quarter of 2021. Chabunda Beng has details of this and more business news.
According to data on foreign trade released by the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, Nigeria's foreign trade balance jumped to a surplus of $1.1 billion in Q4 2021, as export value surpassed import bill for the first time since Q3 2019, representing 8 consecutive quarters of negative trade balance. According to the data, Nigeria's international trade balance increased significantly from a deficit of $327 million recorded in the previous quarter to $1.1 $1.1 billion in Q4 2021. Similarly, when compared to the corresponding period of the previous year, Nigeria's trade balance increased by 115% from $7.57 billion deficit recorded in Q4 2020. Meanwhile, the aggregate trade balance for the year 2021 still lies in the negative region at $6.49 billion, although better than $21.37 billion negative balance recorded in the preceding year. A further breakdown of the data from the Apex Bank showed that export earnings dropped marginally by 3.5% from $13.42 billion recorded in Q3 2021 to $12.95 billion in Q4 2021, while import bill reduced by 13.8% from $13.74 billion to $11.85 billion in the review period.
And on the foreign scene, Russian President Vladimir Putin's decision to recognize the independence of two separatist regions in eastern Ukraine has drawn condemnation, with the NATO chief calling it a violation of international agreements. The United Kingdom has slapped sanctions on a number of Russian banks and high-net-worth individuals as Kiev's Western allies punish Moscow for recognizing two breakaway regions in eastern Ukraine as independent. The move comes after Germany announced it is taking steps to halt the process of certifying the Nord Stream 2 gas pipeline earlier on Tuesday. Meanwhile, the United States announced financial sanctions against the rebel territories and warned that more were ready if necessary. Russia's moves come amid months of tensions over its military deployment on the borders of Ukraine, which has raised fears of an all-out war. We'll now join Adeni Ajishafe for sports news.
Federation of International Football Association FIFA has rescheduled the date for next month's World Cup Qatar 2022 playoff matches between Black Stars of Ghana and Super Eagles of Nigeria. The playoff, which was first scheduled for Thursday, March 24 and Sunday, March 27, has now been moved to Friday, March 25 and Tuesday, March 29, 2022. First leg will take place at Cape Coast Stadium and second leg at Moshood Abiola Stadium in Abuja. The winner of the clash will play at World Cup in the summer period of November 21 to December 18, 2022 in Qatar. Super Falcons centre-back Ashley Plumter has been nominated for Women's Soccer League Player of the Month following a brilliant display for Leicester City. Ashley Plumter will battle Jess Carter of Chelsea and Catherine Berger of Chelsea, Jamal Purfield of Leicester City, Alosha Lehman of Aston Villa and Ashley Neville of Tottenham Ladies for the award. Plumter helped the Foxes to win 2 matches in February against Birmingham City and West Ham United and scored her first goal in the Women's Super League as Leicester City thrashed West Ham 3-0 on February 13. Ashley's performance was outstanding for the Super Falcons at MK Abiola Stadium in the first leg of African Women Cup of Nations qualifiers. That's Sport News. I am Adeni Ajishafe.
And that wraps up Trust TV News Hour for tonight. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Thanks for watching.